Hey, this is Dale Tinsley. You're listening to the Connect podcast. Our purpose is to guide you to connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and live a life of meaning and value. Continuing the series, Limitless Potential, Endless Refinement. Peace be with you, and welcome back to Connect. Hope you guys are doing well, dealing with the internal battle, small victories, big victories, epiphanies, moments of clarity, and everything else that comes along with the internal journey, on your hero's journey. Today's episode is balance. So what jumps in your head when you hear the term balance? Let's start our discussion and get some perspective on the outside. The outside world, people, moments, things happening around you. Let's envision a guy on a tightrope. He's at a circus, and he's got one of those bars. He's about to step off the platform onto that tightrope. Takes some balance to do that, right? Takes the right energy, self-confidence, through repetition and experience, over and over and over, to create that confidence and create that comfortability within that performer. And at that point, he's executing. And that's a pretty good example of balance. Totally focused on what he's doing. Before we get into deeper levels of balance for our lives, perspective, remember these staples. No one is above you, and no one is below you. And to not take things personally. People's actions, their thoughts, their behaviors is more of a reflection of themselves and how they're reacting to you, what they have going on internally. Those are some staples to keep in mind all the time. No one is above me, no one is below me. We're all unique, and we all play our part in this life. Also, the first series that we did, Connecting with Ourselves. Think of balance now, and think of all the episodes in that first series, how they actually support balance. Self-accountability, focus, gratitude, love, understanding, judgment, and regret, having emotional intelligence. Let's get into some different layers now. How about the energy that's associated with balance? And when we think of balance, we think of something stable, something that's got a little bit of stability. It's within a certain zone or criteria that creates this idea that we have of balance. right? It's an idea of balance. Well, it's within balance. No, that's definitely out of balance. It needs more this, it needs more that. And that's the direction that this conversation's going to go. To get those wheels in your head spinning, get your mind open, and get your heart open on this road and this life of cultivating ourselves. Let's go into friendships. And make it personal. Think about your friendships that you have, the quality of them, the duration of them. Are they in balance? Are we as individuals within balance, so to speak? And that's why the self-inventory is critical. Because the self-inventory is like taking our car to the mechanic periodically for a checkup to make sure things are operating like they need to. And if things need to be addressed, they're addressed. We don't neglect them. We don't procrastinate. So when it comes to ourselves and self-reflection, that's one of the major tools that we have. And for that to stick and for us to get the quality out of the self-reflection, we have to use our awareness, and we've got to be brutally honest with ourselves. For all that to come together and synchronize, and for us to maximize our self-inventory. Well, I'm feeling off, something's missing. I'm out of balance. I need to go sit in meditation, sit in the self-reflection, which at this point, I hope you see how critical and pivotal it is to maintain those layers to help you find your balance. It's going to look different for everybody. Some people require more sleep. Some people require more alone time, right? All of us are so nuanced based on our own life's experiences and our own hero's journey up until this point that we can only really tweak ourselves. People can make observations. They can point out character defects from the ego, things they may not understand of the why. But it's on us to do that self-inventory, use our awareness, be brutally honest with ourselves, hold ourselves accountable, and then show ourselves the tough love that we need to see the behavior clearly and continue to refine. Refining ourselves to become the best version of ourselves. So in these friendships, maybe some were seasonal because yourself, me included, weren't at a healthy balance within ourselves, and maybe some people walked away. That's been my reality. That has happened to me. Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe you weren't getting what you needed from someone within balance. And a true friendship, in my opinion, is a harmonic flow of energy. It's give and take, information, ideas, honesty, love, respect, truth. It's an energy dance. And like-minded people, also people with similar energies, frequencies, vibrations, they gravitate towards each other, right? Funny how that happens. but the awareness and us being brutally honest with ourselves. Those are the keys to finding our own balance. What about family? A little bit more complicated because some of these people are blood related to us and we've grown up with them, right? It's not a friendship typically that you can just kind of negotiate your way out of or cut these people out of your lives. But the awareness and the brutal honesty, it's still got to be there with family. It's still got to be there, and ultimately if someone is crossing boundaries or not choosing to respect you or love you or whatever dynamics there are, you have the ability, using your awareness, to slowly make that person aware of the situation and find some kind of balance. And throughout that whole process, we've got to accept them as they are. And lead by example. It's these days it's a rarity that people are really diving into themselves, chasing awareness, doing the internal work. And that's a layer to this reality that we're all experiencing. What about work? Finding a balance with work. You ever had those weeks where you put in 60 hours, 70 hours, 75 hours? So if you have a high volume of work time like that, that time came from somewhere. Something isn't getting done. Something's not being addressed. Now, is there a payoff? Sure. You're stepping up. You're being of service to the company. You're doing what you got to do. And the trade-off is money and experience and repetition and hopefully some internal growth. And you were battle tested, which is always a good thing. It shows us what we're made of. But that high volume of work isn't sustainable for a long period of time if you've got children or someone you're taking care of. So finding the balance with work and enjoying what you're doing and being present in the moment while you're cultivating yourself and feeding your mind and feeding your body and feeding your spirit. All of those things help us stay within a certain level of balance. And achieving that balance, you know when you're in balance. How does that feel? It's peaceful. It's peaceful. Everything is synchronized. Feels effortless. There's a flow, right? Balance is awesome. And I hope you're starting to have some ideas of your own about balance. So those are some outside opportunities for some perspective and some shifts in perception. Let's dive into the internal of our own balance and really going internally of what's going on inside of us. What helps keep us in balance? connection to the planet, connection to ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. Knowing that we're putting in the effort to cultivate ourselves. Knowing that we're trying and we're putting in the effort in life. And nurturing our kids, nurturing ourselves, nurturing our friendships. Showing tough love when we need to. Being self-accountable. Mentoring others. Being of service to others. So many layers that can feed in to balance. And mind, body, spirit, those are the three main highways that everything falls into. If you're super stressed out, what does nature do for you? You pull up to a beautiful park, you leave the phone in the car, you lock the door, and you just go sit by the beautiful lake. It's a beautiful day. It's about 72 degrees. There's a breeze. And you just sit there and let the sun hit you in the face. Nature cleanses us. As human beings, we're drawn to nature. It's therapeutic for the mind. It's therapeutic for the body. It's therapeutic for the soul. You know, you sit there and absorb that moment, and if you close your eyes and then as you eliminate the sense of sight, now your hearing elevates, right? You can hear the birds, you can hear the wind, you can hear the jogger run by on the trail. And in that moment, you're present. You're totally present, enjoying nature, enjoying the moment, connected to yourself, enjoying God's work. You're the observer, and you're connected in that moment. And you're in balance in that moment. Perfect balance, being present in the moment. What if a dog comes over in that moment? And you're in that meditation, and the dog's friendly, and the dog comes over and starts scratching on your leg, and you open your eyes. He breaks the meditation, which is fine. It's an animal that he felt your energy. Something about you drew the animal over, and the animal wanted to engage with you. And in that balance that you're in that moment, experiencing nature, you're at such peace, and you look down at the dog, and your eyes lock. And you just see a reflection of life, of happiness, of energy, of beauty, of amazement with this animal. And animals do that for us. They help keep us in balance. These little creatures that God put here. Even a horse or an elephant. I rode an elephant the other day. And I rode a camel in the same day. Had to do it, right? When do you get to do that? It was at the circus. And before I got off, I said a little prayer, and I was touching the elephant and thanking the elephant. You know, animals are amazing. Imagine a world without animals. It would not be the same. The value and the meaning that animals bring to our lives. Not only to eat also, right, on another level. But they keep us they help create balance. There's an exchange, there's a give and take with the dog or the cat or the horse. You feed them, they nurture you. It's a layer of balance. It's an amazing gift. So we're experiencing the sunlight. In moderation, the sun helps keep us in balance, what we get from it. We feel energized. Too much sun, you'll feel drained, not good. What about your energy levels? Are they within balance? The foods that you're eating, do they keep you in balance? Do you eat and want to go to sleep? Or do you feel light, energetic? Nutrient-dense foods, real foods, whole foods, not food-like items that are just fillers and provide no nutritional value. Movement. Movement is huge for balance. Look at a toddler. Look at the energy levels of a toddler. They're new to this adventure, right? Their little hero's journey is just starting out. But they want to get into everything. They're so curious. They've got limitless energy, aside from limitless potential. And hopefully they tap into endless refinement. Kids, the energy level of a child. Remember back to when you were a kid and your energy levels and what fed that? Movement, 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 movement. Dance. We watch dancers. We watch ballerinas. We watch people ice skating in competition. We watch sports. Every play designed strategically using movement, deception, the nuances of movement. We have to move. The minute we stop moving, we start going downhill. And that movement also can be applied to the mind. The mind and the curiosity, tapping into our passion and our purpose. What are our gifts? And how do we share these gifts with the world? What about movement for spirituality? If you've committed and you're dedicated and you're consistently meditating and consistently self-reflecting, and you have the humility and the gratitude to surrender to God, what about that movement in your spirit? And how has that affected you and opened your mind and opened your heart and brought you levels of clarity that blow your mind? And that even opens us up to new levels of balance where we can really see the deceptions of the world, the distractions of the world, and what's for us on an individual basis and what's not for us. And we can feel it. We can feel people's energy and their level of consciousness. And does it align with ours or it doesn't? Is it an opportunity to be of service to them or isn't it? So balance is critical. I know you guys have heard me say that about pretty much every episode. but it's all true. All of these things are connected. They're all connected. And being connected, where are we when we feel connected? We're in the now. We're in the present. The ego wants to keep us back here in the past or over here in the future. And what comes with the past? Judgment, regret. That can push into the present if it's a similar situation of something, and then the ego says, so you're about to go into a new moment, right? And it's similar to something that happened previously, and then the ego brings the past into the present and says, hey, remember last time this happened? Oh no, and then boom, there goes the anxiety, there goes the fear, there goes the judgment. All of those emotions that the ego uses against us that we have to unravel, get to the root cause, breathe, release, and let go, and heal from whatever moment, whatever trauma, whatever toxic moment, whatever person, or even self-inflicted usually, right? And forgive the outside source and forgive ourselves. And clear that negative karma out, neutralize that from the past. Now those same layers the ego will use in the future. Well, we've got a deadline in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Well, you knew about the deadline for 2 months now. I'm not good enough. I've got anxiety about this. I'm fearful of having that moment come because I'm going to have to be accountable. I'm going to have to be there. I'm going to have to be accountable. They're going to hold my feet to the fire. Responsible, self-accountable. But why fear something that hasn't happened when we can see the ego clearly, his tricks that he uses to keep us in that moment of the future, right? So the past and the future, the balance is right here in the present, right here in the now. That's where the peace is. That's where your genuineness is. That's where the cultivating of yourself rooted in the present moment. Leading with love, leading with trust, having the courage, applying the courage. That saying, don't just talk about it, be about it. The process is thought, verbalizing, action. It takes time. It takes time to step into that courage. But that moment is all around you every day. When your genuineness says, you're at the mall and your genuineness says, hey, open the door for that person. When your genuineness says that, that's the moment you engage in the courage with pure intentions. And you step in there and you have pure intentions, so your energy is good. You're genuine. You're doing your part in that moment. Because no one is above you and no one is below you. And we don't take things personal. If the person that you go to open the door for gives you a smug look and says, nah, I got it, you were leading with love and trust. You just look at them and you say, okay. Your intention was to be of service to someone in the present, in the now, being committed to who you are, love and light, and your genuineness. Now, if that moment does unfold that way, where you get a remark like that, we don't take it personal. And then the ego will come in and say, see, I don't know why you did that. Well, guess what? The ego's not running the show. Go sit down. We got this. The past is in the past and serves us with all the wisdom that we gain from it. And yes, things can unfold similar to what happened because patterns tend to repeat themselves. But we have that awareness when we see something similar coming in the present or in the future, right? Because it's about pattern recognition within ourselves. Then we can see it outside. We can mitigate it. We can mitigate our choices with our awareness through being brutally honest with ourselves, leading with love, leading with trust and courage. In application. This series here that we're digging into, this is application. This is the foundation will continue to grow, but the first series, connecting with ourselves, that was the foundational work that has to be maintained through the self-inventory, through the self-accountability, all of those layers. And if all of those layers and that balance is achieved and maintained within ourselves through that work, through that awareness. We've got this one shot. We get one hero's journey. We have to stay engaged. Life is going to throw many challenges at us. We're going to be battle tested, plenty, in different ways, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. We have to continue to cultivate ourselves and refine ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves on this hero's journey. And then what does that produce? When we go to be of service to someone else, we show up with our best. We show up purely authentic. And that's how we mitigate regret. Well, did you try? No, I didn't try. Did you ask? No, I didn't ask. If you didn't try and you didn't ask, the answer will always be no. And the opportunity will have slipped by. Andreas, he gets credit for that ending right there with the past, the present, and the future. He threw that at me last night as I was prepping for today's episode. He inspired that. That was awesome. It tied in really well. And I'd like to mention Spartan Films. If you're in the New Orleans area, the greater New Orleans area, go check out Spartan Films. That's Andreas's company. He does podcasts, he does commercials. He can put together anything you want. And he's easy to work with. He's a pleasure to work with. He's inspired me. And he's a true blessing to have on my team, and I value him. So check out Spartan Films. Also, I'd like to invite you to go to theconnection.studio. Check out the journal for today's episode. Also, if you want a reminder of the internal work, we've got the t-shirts. I hope today's episode helped open your mind and open your heart. And I hope it gave you some clarity on balance. Balance within yourself, balance within your kids, balance within your wife, husband, friends. It's key. And just lead with love, be honest, be of service to others. A lot of times we're not aware of things that are right in our face because we're so preoccupied with the things we got to get done in life. Things shift so fast, sometimes we don't realize that we're out of balance. And that's why being honest and leading with love and communicating, being genuine to yourself, it's easier to communicate that way. People can see your intentions are pure. You're just trying to help. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, give us a subscribe, like the video, and feel free to share all the content. I'll see you next time. God bless. Thanks for joining us at the Connection Studio. You can support us by sharing with others and posting to social media. Keep doing the internal work, as it will truly make all the difference. God bless.